Two children, born into one of the most powerful families on earth. Their grandfather is the King of England. Their great-grandmother was Queen Elizabeth II. Their blood is royal. Their birthright should be untouchable. And yet, right now, in 2025, those two children do not hold the titles that the law says they are entitled to. Not because of anything they did, not because of any crime, any scandal, any personal failure, but because of a document written in 1917, a document older than most countries, a document that has become the most powerful weapon in the quiet war between Buckingham Palace and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Tonight, we break down the full story, the history, the legal battle, the birth certificate controversy that shook the palace, and the one question nobody in the royal family wants to answer out loud. What happens to Archie and Lilibet when they grow up and decide to fight back? Stay with me, because this story is not over. It has barely begun. Welcome to Royal Report Daily, your #1 destination for real royal news, verified investigations, and the stories the palace doesn't want you to find. I'm your host, and if you are new here, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because what we cover on this channel, you will not find anywhere else. Every single week, we go deeper, we go further, and we go to places the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Tonight is one of those nights. Let's get into it. To understand what is happening to Archie and Lilibet today, you have to go back over 100 years. To 1917, the world was in the middle of World War I. Kingdoms across Europe were collapsing. The Russian royal family had just been overthrown, and King George V, Harry's great-great-grandfather, was watching all of it with fear. He knew that if the British monarchy was going to survive, it needed rules. Clear, written, legal rules about who was royal and who was not. So he did something no British king had done before in quite this way. He issued what is called the Letters Patent of 1917. This was not a suggestion. It was not a tradition. It was a legal royal decree, officially sealed, officially recorded, officially binding on every generation that came after. And inside this document were strict rules about who could carry a royal title. Originally, the Letters Patent gave the title of prince or princess to the grandchildren of the monarch. That meant Harry's children, as grandchildren of Queen Elizabeth II, would have been entitled to titles automatically. But here is where it gets complicated. In 2012, Queen Elizabeth II issued a new Letters Patent, specifically updating the rules for the Cambridge line. The children of Prince William were guaranteed titles as future heirs. But no such update was made for Harry's children at that time, which meant that when Charles became king in September 2022, a technical question arose. As great-grandchildren of the late Queen and grandchildren of the new king, Archie and Lilibet now fell under a different part of the Letters Patent rules. And under those rules, as grandchildren of the monarch, they became automatically entitled to the titles prince and princess. That is not an opinion. That is the law as written. And yet, as of today, neither child uses those titles publicly, which raises a question the palace has never clearly answered. Why? If you want the full truth behind this royal title battle, subscribe to Royal Report Daily right now. We are just getting started, and what comes next is the part the palace really does not want you to know. The moment Queen Elizabeth II passed away on September 8, 2022, everything shifted. Not slowly, not gradually, overnight. Because the second Charles became king, the Letters Patent rules kicked in automatically. Archie and Lilibet, as grandchildren of the reigning monarch, became legally entitled to be called Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Harry and Meghan confirmed this themselves. In their Netflix documentary released in December 2022, they stated clearly that their children were now entitled to titles under the updated succession rules. And for a brief moment, it seemed like a straightforward transition. The palace would update the records, the children would receive what the law entitled them to, and the world would move on. But that is not what happened. Instead, what followed was months of silence from the palace on exactly how those titles would be formally recognized. No announcement, no ceremony, no official statement confirming the transition in the way previous royal births and title changes had always been handled. And in that silence, the tension that had been building since 2019 became impossible to ignore. Because this was not just about names on a certificate. This was about whether the palace would actively support the rights of Harry's children. children it had never fully embraced, or whether it would use bureaucratic slowness and institutional silence to make those rights feel uncertain. For Harry and Meghan, watching from California, that silence was its own answer. Now let's talk about something that actually happened. Something documented. Something that caused real alarm inside Buckingham Palace, and that Meghan herself spoke about publicly. When Archie was born in May 2019, his birth certificate was filed in the normal way. His mother's name was listed as Rachel Meghan, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Standard. Official. Correct. But then, the certificate was changed. Meghan's first name, Rachel, was removed. The document was updated to list her simply as Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. No first name. No personal identity. Just a title. This was not a small clerical correction. Birth certificates in the United Kingdom are legal documents. They are not supposed to be changed without serious reason. And when this change came to light, reported by The Guardian and confirmed by multiple royal correspondents, it sparked an immediate controversy. Who asked for the change? Meghan said the palace pressured her into it. She said she was told it was standard procedure for royal documents to list title rather than name. But sources inside the palace pushed back, suggesting the request came from Meghan's own team. Both sides denied responsibility. Neither side provided documented proof of their version. And the General Register Office, the government body that oversees birth records in England, confirmed only that a change had been made, without explaining who initiated it or why. What this controversy revealed was something far more important than whose name was on a piece of paper. It revealed that even something as basic and personal as a birth certificate had become a battleground. That the relationship between Harry and Meghan and the palace had deteriorated so completely that even routine paperwork had become disputed territory. And for the children at the center of it all, Archie and Lilibet, that is the world they were born into. Like this video right now if this investigation is opening your eyes. And subscribe to Royal Report Daily, because what comes next is where this story becomes truly personal. When Lilibet Diana Mountbatten-Windsor was born on June 4, 2021, in Santa Barbara, California, the announcement came not from Buckingham Palace, but from Harry and Meghan directly. A warm, personal statement. A beautiful name, chosen to honor both Queen Elizabeth, whose family nickname was Lilibet, and Princess Diana. And for a moment, it felt like a gesture of connection, a bridge being built between California and the crown. But the palace's response was notably muted. There was no official celebration, no balcony moment, no royal doctors, no palace-issued photographs in the traditional style. The birth happened in America, announced by the parents, with no formal palace involvement in the record-keeping that royal births had historically involved. Now, it is important to be clear about what this means and what it does not mean. Lilibet is a British citizen. She is legally registered. Her birth is real and documented. But the ceremonial and institutional steps that the palace uses to formally embrace a royal child, the steps that signal this child belongs to our history, those steps did not happen with Lilibet. And that absence was noticed. Royal historians and constitutional experts speaking to outlets, including the Times of London, pointed out that Lilibet's birth represented something genuinely unprecedented in the modern royal family. A child with direct royal lineage, bearing the Queen's own nickname, entering the world entirely outside the palace's institutional framework. Whether that was Harry and Meghan's choice, the palace's choice, or a collision of both, the result was the same. A little girl born into one of the world's most famous families, celebrated by her parents in California, but introduced to history without the crown's fingerprints anywhere on the announcement. Here is something that rarely gets discussed when people talk about Archie and Lilibet's titles. The title question is not just symbolic. It has real, practical, dangerous consequences. When Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020, they lost their publicly funded security detail. The Metropolitan Police protection that had kept Harry safe his entire life was withdrawn. Harry has spoken about this repeatedly, in interviews, in Spare, in legal proceedings. He has described the fear he feels raising his children without the level of security he believes they need. He took the British government to court over this. That legal case, Harry versus the Home Office, was real, documented, and deeply serious. Harry argued that he should be allowed to pay for metropolitan police protection when visiting the UK, even as a private citizen. The government said no. Harry lost that case in the UK courts, with judges ruling that the decision to withdraw his security was lawful. And what does this have to do with titles? Everything. Because royal titles come with institutional protection. They come with the full weight of the crown's security apparatus behind them. Without those titles being actively recognized and supported by the palace, Archie and Lilibet exist in a gap. They are royal by blood and by law, but they do not receive the protections that come with that status. And Harry, a man who watched his mother die in a car chase, who has spoken about his terror of history repeating itself, has to live with that gap every single day. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily and turn on notifications, because the final part of this investigation answers the question that keeps Harry up at night. What happens when Archie and Lilibet grow up and ask why? On May 6, 2023, King Charles III was crowned at Westminster Abbey. It was one of the most watched events in the world that year. The entire royal family gathered. William and Kate were there. Their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, were there in ceremonial roles on the world stage, representing the future of the monarchy. Harry was there too. He flew in from California. He sat in the third row. He was not given a ceremonial role. He left the same day. And Meghan did not come at all. But the detail that cut the deepest, the detail that royal watchers have not stopped talking about since, was the children. Archie and Lilibet were not there. The grandchildren of the newly crowned King of England were not present at his coronation. Now, Harry and Meghan explained this was a choice made to protect their children from media pressure, and that is a completely understandable position for any parent. But the visual told its own story. On one of the most significant days in modern royal history, the king's grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, were absent. While their cousins stood in the abbey, in the light, in history, Archie and Lilibet watched from California. That absence was not just about one day. It was a symbol of everything that has gone wrong between Harry's family and the institution he was born into. Two children, separated from their royal heritage, not by any fault of their own, but by the decisions made by the adults around them and by a system that has never found a way to make room for a family that chose to live differently. Archie is 6 years old. Lilibet is 3. They do not understand any of this yet. They do not know about letters patent. They do not know about birth certificate controversies or coronation seating arrangements or security court cases. They are children. They are, by all accounts from people who have met them, happy, loved, and thriving in California. But one day, and that day will come sooner than anyone wants to admit, they will be old enough to ask questions. They will Google their own names. They will read about the world they were born into. They will ask their father why their cousins are princes and princesses and they were kept in a different category for years. They will ask their mother what really happened. And they will have to decide for themselves what their relationship to the British royal family looks like. Will they want to reconnect? Will they pursue their legal rights to titles and recognition? Will they want nothing to do with the institution that treated their parents as outsiders? Nobody knows. Not Harry. Not Meghan. Not the palace. Because the choices being made right now, the silences, the absences, the bureaucratic battles, are not just affecting two adults in a complicated marriage. They are shaping the worldview of two children who will one day be adults themselves. And that is the part of this story that nobody is talking about enough. The long game. The generational consequences of a family fracture that has never been properly healed. Here is the truth at the heart of all of this. Archie and Lilibet did not choose any of this. They did not choose to be born royal. They did not choose to grow up in California. They did not choose the controversy that surrounded their births, their names, their certificates, their titles. They are children. And children, no matter what their last name is, no matter what their grandfather's title is, deserve to grow up knowing who they are, knowing where they come from, knowing that the story of their family, however complicated, is a story that belongs to them. The palace can choose silence. It can let bureaucracy move slowly. It can allow the gap between Harry's family and the crown to grow wider with each passing year. But it cannot change the fact that two children carry Windsor blood, that their great-grandmother was Elizabeth II, that their grandfather is the king. That history, no matter how carefully managed, has a way of remembering everything. Whatever happens next between Harry and the palace, whatever decisions are made about titles and records and recognition, Archie and Lilibet will one day stand on the other side of it all. And how the royal family treated them in these early years will be part of the record too. That is a truth no letters patent can erase. And it is the truth we will keep reporting on, honestly, carefully, and without flinching. That is what Royal Report Daily is here for. Every single time. That is all for tonight's investigation on Royal Report Daily. If this video made you think, made you feel, or made you see this story differently, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it means everything to this channel. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on notifications, because we post new investigations every week and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Share this video with one person who follows the royal story, because the more people who know the real truth, the better. I'm your host. This has been Royal Report Daily. Stay informed, stay royal, and I will see you in the next one. The palace stayed silent. We didn't. Subscribe to Royal Report Daily and be here when the next chapter drops.